Hi, HRN listeners. We're celebrating our 15th anniversary, and we have a really fun campaign and an ask for you. This 15th anniversary tour is aiming to bring you closer to unique food and music experiences in some of the most exciting cities in America. All the while, we're raising funds to support our work empowering the next generation of food system storytellers through our fellowship programs. Here's how it works. Donate to HRN and be entered into a raffle in the city of your choice to win a dinner for two at a noteworthy restaurant and tickets for two to a concert at a prominent local venue. We have incredible partners in New York, Los Angeles, Philadelphia, Nashville, Las Vegas, Charleston, Asheville, and Ardmore, Pennsylvania, who have donated a meal for two and two tickets to a concert of the winner's choice. And all donations help fund our fellowship programs, where we're helping to build essential workforce readiness skills and food system storytelling skills. Check out heritageradionetwork.org/15 to donate and enter to win today. That's heritageradionetwork.org/15. Thank you.
Now it says, for businesses in the food space, or not even just food, for businesses that do online, for online businesses, we'll have to do deliveries. Yeah. One of our major problem is logistics. Yeah. So I tell people, even when I speak to my friends and they say, oh, Vivian, what kind of business can I come and start up in Nigeria? They come and start a logistics company, So especially for food, because with other non-perishable items, it's easy. You can tell you can offer 24 hours delivery, but then someone places an order. Ideally, they should get it within a specific, at a particular time. And then I wouldn't want to be, if I start someone on the island places an order, I try to get the orders out as early as 9 a.m. But then delivery guys say my bike's fault. Yeah. Police stopped me on the road.
You don't have control over
You don't have control, So this is me now, you're working so hard trying to give the best service you can, but then there's something else which you have no control over. But thankfully, we have understanding customers, we explain to them this is Lagos,
Hi everyone, you're listening to Item 13 podcast, and I'm your host, Yom Tego. Every week, we'll delve into the world of African food, including chefs, curators, and bloggers. I hope you enjoy it. This week, I speak to Vivian Ngwodo, the founder of Chopstreets, a food discovery platform that helps people find great places to eat and enjoy African and Caribbean-inspired food in the UK. In June 2017, Vivian moved back to Lagos, Nigeria, after spending 7 years in the UK working with top banks and consulting firms, as well as a digital startup. Vivian is currently in the process of relaunching Chopstreets in Lagos to capture food entrepreneurs operating in the Nigerian food space. Since her return to Nigeria, she has co-founded two startups, an online bake shop, the Mango Bake Shop, and a web design agency, Naira Avenue, that seeks to get every small business operating in Nigeria online by providing them with affordable websites. We held this conversation in Lagos, and it truly felt like catching up with an old friend. Vivian is very open about the personal and professional challenges she's had and how those have helped her become the entrepreneur she is today. Here's our conversation. Welcome to the show, Vivian. Excited to have you on.
Thank you, Yom. I'm very excited.
I know it's been a long time coming, and we've scheduled this so many times.
Thanks so much, Dan.
Yeah, I actually finally had to come to Lagos to make it happen.
Well, it's glad to meet you.
Yeah, it's good actually. I think this will be great. So let's start by you sharing a little bit about yourself, where you grew up, and then why you made the decision to move to UK, because I know you were in London for a little bit.
Yeah, okay, so my name is Vivian Ngwodo, and I was born in Nigeria, grew up in Nigeria, schooled, and worked in Nigeria. But in 2010, I made the decision to move to the UK for my master's, and I went to the University of Dundee in Scotland, and that was 2010. And once I graduated, or before I graduated, I wanted to gain some UK work experience rather than just come back home, and I did. And that UK experience turned into 7 long years.
7? Yeah.
Yeah, 7 long years in the UK, and it was it was wonderful. I enjoyed the time I spent there. I got to work with various organizations and banks, and I more or less continued in my line because I'm in financial service. I used to work in the bank in Nigeria, and I continued when I moved to the UK. So, but in 2014, I stumbled on IT or technology. I wanted to do more. I discovered websites and app development. I have no background in technology, and I was fascinated. And then I decided to go for a training with a startup in London, and I did that was 1 month. It was a week training, but then you had what you called work experience. So you got to continue with the company and learning and stuff. And I got so involved. I really liked it. And I kept saying to myself, Vivian, why did you study accounting? Study computer science? There's something along those lines. I really loved it. And I'll get back home after I was doing the internship with the company, and I'll get back home, go on YouTube, go online, how to build website, WordPress, what is WordPress, and several things. And, I just carried on like that. And then somehow the food thing I'm not so sure how that food thing started, because I think I had a break in between jobs, and I just thought about, African, I cook back in London. Then I used to cook, and I would cook my own Nigerian food, and then once in a while I would eat out Italian restaurants and British food, but majorly you find me eating Nigerian food. And then something I wanted to eat out, but I found out that it was a problem looking for Nigerian restaurants in London. The ones you would find are not really, So I thought, why don't we start a blog about African restaurants in general? And that was how Chopstreets actually started.
And then you moved back, and we'll go on later and talk more specifically about Chopstreets and the inspiration and what it's all about. Okay. But then you did the UK thing, and then you decided to move back last year, right?
2017, yes. So 2017. So while I was in the UK, I knew I was always going to come back. Okay. I didn't know when, but I just carried on gaining all the skills I could and doing everything I could. But moving back home was not a strange thing to me. But in 2017, there were certain things I wanted to do, and it was becoming a bit of a struggle. It seemed like nothing was working anymore. I wasn't even deriving joy again from my job. Everything was just stressful, and this was general. And it's funny because it was actually that year that I launched the app.
I was going to say, you launched it. So that's how I found out about Chopstreets. Exactly. I remember it was just all over, everywhere.
So it's funny, but I was pushing myself to do that because, I like to challenge myself. I like to do things that people think, you can't do it or it can't be done. So even though I put so much energy there, but at the back of my mind, I was still struggling, like, what do you really want? And this was looking at Chopstreets launched the app. So the Chopstreets itself started in 2014, but the app itself launched in 2017. So from January, February, I was doing press campaigns and, speaking engagement and stuff. But somewhere at the back of my mind, my mind was turning into tools. And I think it was in May. I just had that one day, and I had a deep thought, and I didn't want to speak to anybody. I didn't want to discuss it with anybody because I didn't want anyone to influence my decision. And I said to myself, and I said, I'm moving back home. And there was certain things I wanted to do with the app that I was struggling with. I was trying to break into the tech scene in London, and it was proving a bit difficult. And I tried to go for lots of networking events and all that, but it was hard for people to actually buy into what I wanted to do. Maybe the African factor, I don't know. But I just decided, the moment I decided, I'm moving back home, I just found that I had peace.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Yes.
And this was May. This was May of last year, and I struggled. How am I going to tell my parents that I'm moving back? My parents are living in Nigeria. I had siblings in the UK as well, and I'm like, how am I going to break it to them? And so first person I spoke to was my sister, who I used to live with in the UK, and she was very supportive. Okay, is that your decision? What are you going back home to do in Nigeria? Do you have a job waiting for you? And all of that. And I said, I don't have anything waiting for me, but I know if I go back home, something would, I was very confident. But at the same time, I was doing my research as well. I started doing my research on things I could do, even if I don't get a job in the next 6 months and stuff like that. And then I spoke to my brother. My brother lives in the UK as well, and he said, "That's fine. I'll support you, whatever you want to do." I spoke to my mom. My dad was the last person told. He didn't know I was coming back until 2 weeks.
No.
Yes. Because I know he will be very. His first reaction will be, "What happened or why?
Yeah.
Or why are you coming on? He wouldn't really to this other side of entrepreneurship the way I would say it. My mom was excited. I mean, she wanted
Her
to
child is coming back.
I was very happy to have me home. So then I told a few people, I told a few friends, and at the time, as I expected, why are you going back? I give you 3 months, you're going to run back here. Nigeria is these people are trying to leave and all that. I said, I know, I'm very real. I've seen those things. And then so within 2 weeks, I checked for my tickets, booked holiday from work. And I started packing and all the time. But the thing was, through that period, I was still searching myself to be sure I was making the right decision. And everything just seemed to be the thing I should be doing at that point in
Not
time.
following your gut feeling.
Exactly. Everything worked well. Even I hear how horror stories about moving the stuff down, and everything was seamless for me. Got my ticket and moved back, and the day I was actually, my sister saw me up to the airport. I think the thing I would miss most would be my sister, because for the last 7 years we've spent
together,
together, and my brother as well. So they were like, we've been my family, and then I'm living there. And I also felt she might feel lonely because I wasn't going to be there anymore. But I think kind of settled down and got to into the fact that now I'm here and she's over there. And I moved back to Nigeria. That's time I've been like angry, like, oh my god, things don't work.
Yeah, so let's talk about that. What has the transition? So it sounds like it will be about a year. It's been about a year, right?
Yeah, so I actually got back to Nigeria in June last year.
So we're getting to about a year.
Yeah, so this is the end of May, so actually going to be a year. So the transition, it's been, how do I say? Okay, I think what has helped me the most is I think I have a very good support system around me. So my family is there, and then my local home church is there as well. So, and then that's kind of helped me because most of the friends I had before I moved away from Nigeria, everyone has moved on.
Right,
So it's not going to be like before. So
exactly, yeah. Even when I go back to Accra, it's a little different. Right? It's just like a lot of the people you used to hang out with either have also left Accra or just have their own lives now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that was one of the things I felt like, wow, I have to go back to making new friends and doing a lot of networking and but I think having that support system helped a lot. And I think sometimes my parents would be worried, like, oh, I hope she's not depressed. And because sometimes I just lock myself up in the room. And they were so worried, oh, come down, come and eat and all of that. But they really gave me that support. I didn't feel like I was missing out on anything. And I think I didn't put pressure on myself. So I told myself that the first 3 months, so from June to like August, I wasn't doing anything. I was just relaxing. Because the truth was, the last 3 years for me, I'd worked so hard. And I was exhausted.
And that's an important thing that people need to. You don't always need to be going. It's okay to take some time.
Yes, it's okay.
Take care of yourself.
I didn't put myself under any pressure because the first question people would usually ask me is, oh, you're back in town. Oh, are you job hunting? And I'm like, chill.
I know, it's actually interesting that people always feel like you have to be doing something, and lots of people identify so strongly with the thing that they do. Like if they introduce themselves, oh, I'm so and so, and I work hard, or I'm,
exactly. If you don't put that part,
exactly,
I think you feel you're taking something away from it. It doesn't have to be. I think that's one of the things I've learned over time. I've learned not to put myself under pressure. My name is Vivian, and if I don't feel the need to say any other thing, I don't think it takes anything.
Yeah, exactly, right.
So I wake up, have a good time, spend with my family. I wasn't doing anything. But the thing was, at that time, before I moved back to Nigeria, there was actually, when I was doing my research, there was actually one company that I wanted to work for in Nigeria, and I read about them. They were doing fantastic, and they were everywhere. So my mind was set on them. And the moment, as I was just within a week of my return to the country, I said they were openings there, and I put in my application, and it was. So that was the one place I was my eyes. I wasn't. Other people were like, send me your CV. I distributed my CV to people, but actually wanted that to work there, and I had several interviews with them. Most of it was online, thankfully, and but about 7, 8, and then it didn't go the way I expected it. I was so heartbroken. It was so bad, like, because I felt, that was it, and when you envision yourself in a particular organization, you identify with your values and everything, and it just doesn't work so well. So that was, it was really, really bad. I felt really bad, and I remember the final interview, and so they actually told me that, it was about 7 or 8 interviews I had with them. And
that's a lot,
It's a lot, and it wasn't even a managerial role. So, and one of the directors said, okay, so what if you don't get this job? What are you going to do? And I said, move on to plan B, start my own business. And I don't know if he was shocked that I said that or expecting me to say, oh no, I reapplied, but I was being real. As much as I wanted that job, I was being real to myself, I need to get things in place. And I think that kind of helped me, because at the end of the day, I wasn't taken, but I had that, going to start a business, but looking for the right timing, and at the right time, which was then in August, which was actually towards the end of my holiday, that I gave myself, ready to
and I mean, things always happen for people. It sounds like a cliche, but I always say things always happen for a reason.
I tell you, it just proves that, because if I had gotten that job, most of the things I've started since I moved back to Nigeria wouldn't have been, spending most of my time.
Okay, so let's then talk about Chopstreets. One of the things that you, not started in Nigeria, but you started in the UK and ran away from there to continue it here. So Chopstreets, what is Chopstreets for people that don't know?
Okay, so Chopstreets initially was a platform designed to help people discover African and Caribbean restaurants in London, and the long-term goal was to make it in the UK as well. But because London had a larger concentration of African and Caribbeans, I focused on London then. So it was get reviews, get deals, but most especially get reviews and find restaurants near you. So that was Chopstreet. And then I thought, when technology was gradually advancing, and I thought, what if people had it on their phone?
So it started as a website.
Okay, it started as a website, and the website is still on, but currently revamping now. But it started as a website, and then it was actually how would I put it now? When I started, I didn't know what to expect or how to plan, but then I saw people responded to it, and lots of businesses wanted to be found. So most of these businesses in restaurants and caterers in the UK or in London, African and Caribbean, they were there, but people didn't know they existed. So you don't just have to cater to Nigerians or Africans or Ghanaians. Why don't you allow the British people come in? Try food. Sometimes I go to Asian restaurants and go,
why wouldn't it be the other way?
So I think visibility was a problem then. So the website was there, and then I had businesses register on the website and have people review them, but then I started thinking I wanted this thing to be bigger than what it is. And I said the thoughts of developing an app, and I worked on it. I did my research, and I did it, and I was looking at launch in 2017. And but the good thing about it was people loved the idea, because people didn't think African or Caribbean restaurants were what promoting or what being talked about and mentioned, so there wasn't any fine dining African restaurants.
Until Ikoyi came up.
Until Ikoyi London came up, and I think now there's another one that has that's going to be opening very soon. But Ikoyi London started, I think it was last year or 2016. I'm not too sure anymore. So but from 2017, we actually had new African restaurants coming up with different concepts and doing things differently. This
was a good time, whether you knew it or not, sort of going to that space, right? Because in the last 2 years, it seems like African food has just exploded onto the scene, in a way that is just...
that no one even imagined. It's changed. The game actually has changed, and that was one of the reasons I pushed on with it, and so that was what Chopstreets is. And then I would have people mail me or start, and at some point I was like, oh, maybe you should go into food consulting. But I think then I derived joy from helping people set up, implement processes and letting things run the way they should. So when I moved back to Nigeria, I struggled a lot with what to do with Chopstreets, and I'm like, do I continue? Because now I'm not just visiting, I'm located, so I wouldn't have first-hand information as such, even though it's exciting, but I like to experience these things myself. And so from June up until from June to April, I just packed Chopstreets. I wasn't doing anything, and I would always not want to pressure myself. I thought about it, I still wasn't getting anything. I brainstormed and all, and nothing was coming for the direction. And I was trying to study the food scene in Nigeria, and I realized that it has changed. There are lots of high-end restaurants in Lagos now. Things have changed.
I went to Knock last night. It was so good.
Exactly. There's not just Safle, there's Sabo, there's Sugar King, there's lots of them, and I'm like, wow, things have changed. So I'm trying to, and I don't want to rush into just put things anywhere. So I'm trying to understand and survey, see what people do. And then it's interesting because that means that Nigerians are now eating out a lot. Because back then in London, there was a problem. Nigerians don't eat out, so you see these restaurants, sometimes you spend money to up a nice place and nobody comes in. They rather order for delivery and no one was coming up.
So that's a good point actually, because I used to always complain about how so I lived in more cities in the US, so like in New York, Chicago, etc. And a lot of the African places you go to, it's like it's almost as big as this conference room. But then when you think about it, it makes sense because a lot of the people that were buying from them were not coming to sit and stay, right? They're buying to take away or buying for your party at home or whatever. So there's no need to invest.
So
ambience and all of that stuff. That's actually
you go in there, you ask them for the menu. Oh, can I get this? Can I get this?
There you go. Exactly.
So come back to Nigeria, and I'm like, wow.
Even in Accra, I think it's. I don't know that, and I have this argument a lot of people. I think Accra's food scene generally has improved. I don't know specifically about African food, but generally speaking, it's
exactly. I would say the same for Lagos, and then they had different cuisines, and even up yesterday. I think it was yesterday. There was still a new restaurant opening, just seafood.
Oh wow! So the chance to actually even specialize in that niche.
Exactly. Thank you, niche. And this was maybe how many years back?
You wouldn't
sit in Nigerian restaurant in Nigerian world, and now you only eat Spanish food.
You're able to do that.
So it's quite interesting. I've been studying, and then I spoke to someone I met kind of for social media. I spoke to someone in April, and he kind of brought up the Chopstreets thing. I said, I've seen what you've done with Chopstreets, and you didn't have a team. I was like, he was on me, and like, wow. And then he said, you need to. And then, but I don't know if it was the fear or whatever. But he said, you can't let that die. You need to. I've actually been thinking about it. I'm just looking for the right direction, and that's why sometimes good to speak to people who share your idea, not just anyone.
Exactly.
But I've spoken to someone who didn't believe in trust and told me, you're back in Nigeria, forget about it. But then I spoke to this person, no, you should.
And I think it's good, right? The discovery thing is important. It helps the businesses also, because a lot of these, you're not going to Google and find it, right?
And then so now what I want to do with Chopstreets is, we always have people in the diaspora, Africans, Nigerians in the diaspora that, come back to Nigeria, you're Ghanaian, but you're in Lagos now, and then sometimes people come and we are the best restaurants to eat and all that. So that's the focus Chopstreets is taking now. So I'm trying to revamp the website to capture all of that, and it's going to be solely based on user reviews, not necessarily my opinion now, but more or less like, you want to travel, you're looking for a tour, you go to TripAdvisor, so you because.
I see.
Exactly. So I want Chopstreets to be like that. So whether you live in Nigeria or you live anywhere in the world, as long as you're coming to Lagos and you're looking to eat out, you want one place where you can actually get all the information, where you can actually get reviews, recommendations. So that's the channel that Chopstreets is actually taking now. So, but someone said, okay, so are you going to do with all the
what you had before?
I said no. So what's going to happen is that on the website you're going to have London restaurants and then you're going to have Lagos.
Okay.
When you go on there, you can click on London and then you see all London restaurants and the reviews, and then when you click on Lagos, you're going to see all of that. So and then I'm looking to also collaborate with most of these restaurants, sort of like a loyalty scheme and reward scheme. It's something that just catching on to most businesses in Nigeria.
So are you doing away with the app completely then?
No, so I had to shut down the app when I moved back. Painfully, I shut it down and took it off. It's still, I think it's still on Android, but the Google Play Store. But I took it off. Apple, yeah, because it was getting expensive. So, but I'm going to restart that. Okay. So once the website is launched and things are kind of settled in, I'll
go back to the app. So let's talk about the app as if it was existing today. Because are you going to replicate then what was happening?
Yes, I'm going to replicate. Because
so then when you open the app, what do you see?
So when you open the app, it actually shows you. You can have screenshots of it. So it will show you restaurants, and the way I did it, then you can click on. So because London is massive, so it breaks it down for you. So you can either search by cuisine, Southern African, West African, which include Nigerian and the rest, East African and all that. So you can search by cuisine, you can search by locations and stuff like that. But interestingly, most of the West African restaurants are centered in South London.
Okay.
They have more African than blacks in South London, and then some high-end South African restaurants and Caribbean restaurants. We actually find them in West London.
That's interesting insight that you get from even just collecting all that data and seeing the trends, right? Yeah. And that's something I've also had a lot of discussions with, restaurant owners, African restaurant owners in the US and also in London. And I don't think I should mention his name, but there's a Nigerian, because I don't have his mention. There's and one Nigerian guy who has a pop-up thing in Lagos, who was saying in London, who was saying that it's not by choice that they they would like to have a place on High Street or Main Street or all of those places. It's just that it's cost prohibitive for them, right? And so just when you think about, even if they got the investment money, will their Africans come and support there to be able to support the rent, and then will they even appreciate like all the work that goes into that? And so he says, if I want to do it for a living, then it's like, I'm not a trust fund baby. I'm doing this to survive. So it would be nice to be able to have that, but is it practical to,
It is, and following up on what you just said, I remember there was Chopstreets, and she was based in, it was a Ghanaian restaurant. So she said she tried to model it after chop bars that they have in Ghana, and she had one in I think it was on Finchley Road, which was still a very quite ambitious area for an African food business, and she was doing pretty well. And then she was going to open a second branch, and then she opened it on Liverpool Street.
Okay.
So how does an African open a food business on Liverpool Street, where you have the like of your sushi, and they have all of those people there? But I was happy because I visited her previous place, and she had soups stocked in Selfridges food section.
Okay.
She was pretty much doing well, and in fact, she wasn't actually even catering to the Africans.
Yeah.
So she had more of non-Africans patronizing her, and she would even sell out there. And she had the second stop.
Yeah.
Right? Once you come out of Liverpool Street Station and you walk straight down, you will see it there. So for me, I was happy and excited, like, wow, it's a bold move. And, you know, I'm guessing, I don't know, she might have put in invest and she might have do that. But as of today, I think the last time I checked it was closed.
Okay.
But right now, I think it's still open.
Yeah.
But just like what that guy said, you know, if the Africans don't even come out to support you, and most non-Africans would actually come in to try it out, and you know, take some time for them to get used to that. So,
because even if you are targeting non-Africans, right? Because I found. So my experience is in the US. Like when we go to a Japanese or a Korean or whatever restaurant, the group that I'm usually with will say, "Oh, we know this is a good Korean place because there's a lot of Koreans here." So they make that connection. So if you come, because they don't know the food, right? So they're saying, "Oh, if that group themselves are not there, then there must be something off."
Wrong.
You know, and so that's also, I mean, while, you know, the business is may not be targeting Africans, there's something to be said for people that haven't experienced it to want to be able to
go there.
And that's interesting.
So with the app, that was it. And then so you could find cuisine, you could find you could search by cuisine, you could search by location, you could find events. So there's always one event or the other going on. African pop-ups and super club were becoming a thing. From 2016 we had lots of that, so you could get it listed on the app as well. And then there was a loyalty scheme I'd entered into with some businesses there. So if you review, if you take a review for them, either good or bad, you get a point, and then you accumulate a certain number of points, and then you get a meal, stuff like that.
So now that we'll do sort of both UK and Nigeria, like I think it's easy to think about who your target market is in the UK. Now that you're sort of becoming international, almost.
Exactly. So
you are international. Who is your target market then? Because I'm sure, like, once you sort of figured out I'm putting words in your mouth now. Once you've sort of figured out a system for doing it in Nigeria, I feel like it would be easy to do that, like in next door Accra, for example.
Exactly, yeah. So, because now, my tagline used to be, platform, discover, share, African and Caribbean restaurants in UK. But now, like you said, you're going global, international. I have to rejig that tagline, and I still want the London bit of it to still be African and Caribbean restaurants. So I'm working with a group of people now, and we're trying to find a way to bring it under one umbrella. So, because like you said, I don't want to restrict it to just London and Lagos at some point. I want to move into other African countries as well. And apart from it being a discovery platform, I'm looking to do like events and do different things, different styles of dining, like team dining styles, and the work with chefs.
And Lagos, you guys are pretty good about doing those sorts of things, like doing festivals, GT
festival,
all this stuff.
And even some chefs like let me mention names, so you don't look at if I have a favorite. But there's some chefs in Lagos as well that are doing pop-ups and super clubs, and they've been, when I came back and I saw there was a place, I was like, oh wow, and they put the price on it, and then when I go back, I would always, I'll do my conversion. I'm like, oh, that's not bad. That's not bad. So I'm looking at a situation whereby Chopstreets is able to capture all of this, in one umbrella. So it becomes like, for instance, one of the companies that company that I used to look up to in terms of Chopstreets was Zomato. Zomato started in India, and now they're in
Zomato is Indian?
Yes.
Oh wow.
Over 20 countries and counting. So
that's the dream, eh?
I don't know if I can but
you need to think big. I think that's something big.
So, they started in India and now they're global, they're everywhere, and they still managed to put everything on. So And of course, in India, they promote more of their Indian.
Oh, so that's fair. Yeah, so that you sort of match it.
So if you're in Lagos, if you're in Lagos, I'm not necessarily promoting. It's not about you wanting to go out to eat Nigerian food.
It's just then you have the different categories of foods and Lagos. I mean, I really like the idea because for someone like me who travels quite a bit, it's so hard to find so I specifically, when I travel, I look for African. It doesn't even have to be Ghanaian, Nigerian. I just look for any sort of African food place, and it's so hard. I mean, you have Google, but it's not always as accurate, and it relies on user, and then it's like you find the address is wrong. The number of times I remember, especially in Germany, because I also couldn't really read German properly, so I don't know who enters it, and I will literally I'll take the bus and the train and I'll go for like an hour and a half, and then I get there and it's an empty lot.
Exactly. The same thing happened to myself and my sister when we traveled to Amsterdam, and it was a struggle.
Yeah.
It was not we had to search for food, and but that's kind of.
So, I mean, in that vein, then how do you solve that problem of keeping up? Because I'm sure at some point that information was accurate.
Exactly.
Right. So how do you plan to tackle that challenge?
Yeah. So what I did with Chopstreets when I started was for the better part of most of the information, I collated it and entered it entered on the website myself. But then there's a claim your listing.
Okay. Yeah.
So what I did was to inform these restaurants and businesses. Apart from those who register themselves, they're responsible for keeping it up to date. So, but the other ones, they claim your listing button there, and then I'll notify them. Yeah. You have a listing here, and then
let's make sure that information is accurate
and all that. And then sometimes for those who haven't claimed their listing, I remember an incident where somebody had given a bad review on a business I considered a very good one and very professional. So, and I thought that review was quite odd. It was a bad review. So, the lady, the owner of the business, hadn't claimed her listing, so she wasn't even aware. So, but what I did then was to actually include their email addresses in such a way that they get it, but I'm thinking they might not say this. But I just felt, okay, Vivian, you have to let her know. And I told her, I said, okay, you have a listing, you've received a review. A bad review. I had to put that in the subject line, and you received a bad review on Chopstreets.com, and you might want to respond to the customer. And it was even a wedding, it was a bride, and so quickly she had to respond, and it was so it wasn't like a fake review.
So that's what I was thinking.
So there was actually an incident, and so she had to respond there to the lady, but because we're not disputes, I wasn't going to go into resolution and all of that. But then, because I knew people can be mean and go on and leave bad reviews.
Okay. Let's see. What else did I want to talk about? We talked about the target market. We talked about discovery. Let's take a short break here. Let's take a break, and then when we come back, I want to talk about the topic of doing business in Nigeria, or in Lagos specifically, since we're in Lagos. We'll talk about a little bit more about what you are doing in terms of trying to launch Chopstreets again, and then you have some other businesses. So we'll talk about what's in the Lagos water that's making people want to run more than one business. Okay, we'll take a break and we'll be right back. Welcome back from the break. We talked about your transition back to Nigeria. Now let's talk more specifically about doing business in Nigeria. And I know you have a lot to say about the challenges. So let's start with the good news. What are the upsides, you think, the advantages of doing business in Nigeria? Where the things you maybe not been able to do if you were still in London, for example?
Okay, so I think one of the upsides actually be the opportunities. There are loads of opportunities out there.
There are loads of problems to solve.
Exactly, loads of problems to solve. And even the solution to the problem has problems to solve. So you see opportunities and you're like, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. And then you get started, but you're frustrated. You know, your hands are tied. Things that should, you know, ordinarily work are not working. For instance, so I wish I could say so much about the good.
I know. I said we've already started going into the challenges, but that's okay.
I really do wish, but you know, it's just an interesting. It's an interesting terrain. You know, even from the customers to the way the business is run, the way you handle things, your staff. You know, everything is just different, and I don't think any business school will teach you that. You know, it's just different. You know, so the way it's so okay. I think probably I try to be optimistic. I try not to look at the challenges that much. You know, I just tell myself, okay, yeah, you know, you are here. This is the challenges. You know, power is a problem. You know, like for instance, so it's one of the first business I set up was an online bake shop. It's a bakery. We need lights 24/7,
right.
You know, to do all of those things, and most of the time we don't have. So most of our better part of our expenses goes into running the generator. So that's a lot. So, you know, and for now it's an online bake shop. We're not looking to have an outlet anytime soon. And I think one problem businesses face is the rules and regulations are not clearly stated or spelled out. You know, for instance, you go in, you get land, you start your building project, you've done all these things the right way. Someone gave these documents to you, and 1 year down the line, the government wakes up and says, "Oh, that's you built on the wrong land and all that." And
oh, you know, I remember a story about also Ada.
Yes, there were about lots of businesses, mainly Jews, not about cakes.
That they one day they woke up and
one day
just
businesses their buildings were raised down, and I'm like, these are people that have not taken any money from the government. You know, you've worked so hard to do things for yourself, and you know, to it, and then and you did things properly. Someone signed those documents, someone gave those things to you, and you know, it's. One day they wake up and say, "Oh no, that person should not have done that," and it's gone.
I remember reading that and thinking like, okay, if according to your rules this belongs to somebody else, why raise it down? Like, why don't we have a conversation about a fine I will pay, or like, or give me time to relocate?
No, you don't do that. There's no dialogue. There's nothing. You just raise it down and then you're left to start from scratch. Money gone down the drain. It's really heartbreaking. And talking about rules and regulations, for instance, again, NAFDAC. So NAFDAC is like the regulatory body for foods and drugs. So for instance, if I wanted to get my products in ShopRite or any of the big stores, I have to get it NAFDAC approved. Now, I think it's just now they're beginning to make it clear. But before it was like something shrouded. Like mystery. And I'm like, but these things need to get approved. Why are we hiding it? Why don't people like have this information at the tip of their fingers? You know, so that's one of the challenges. And then some the other thing I would say is for businesses in the food space, or not even just food, but businesses that do online, you know, for online businesses, you know, where we have to do deliveries. One of our major problem is logistics. So I tell people, like, even when I speak to my friends and they say, "Oh, yeah, what kind of business can I come and start up in Nigeria?" They come and start a logistics company. You know, so especially for food, because with other non-perishable items, it's easy. You can offer 24 hours delivery, but then someone places an order. Ideally, they should get it within a specific, at a particular time, and then I wouldn't want to be. You know, I mean, if I start someone on the island places an order, I try to get the orders out as early as 9 a.m. But then the delivery guy says my bike spoiled. Police stopped me on the road. You know,
you don't have control over that.
You don't have control. You know, so this is me now. You know, you're working so hard trying to give the best service you can, but then there's something else which you have no control over. But thankfully, we have understanding customers, and we explain to them, this is Lagos, you know how this things work, or we try as much as well. So I think one of the good side of the business is actually having the kind of customers we have. So when we started, so I run the business with my sister. She was working 9 to 5 when I moved back, and then at some point she decided, she was done with that, and so we joined forces together to start Mango Bake Shop. So one of the things that we're quite intentional, and we followed through. So with Nigeria, I would say when you start off in one direction, you have to follow through, because when you want to change, it's very hard.
Because the investments and all sorts of things.
Exactly, it's really hard. And then we told ourselves we were doing online and we're going to do it for a while. Because we needed incurring costs. And then as a new business, you're still going to be struggling with several things. And then with customers as well, we were quite intentional with them. This is how we do it. It's not pay on delivery. It's not pay before delivery. I'm sorry, not pay on delivery. It's pay before delivery.
Yeah.
And initially it was a bit of a struggle, but
so actually before you continue, I realized that we didn't even introduce people to what's Mango. So you also run Mango Bake Shop.
Mango Bake Shop.
Which is an online.
Okay, so Mango Bake Shop is an online bake shop. We're based in Festac, but we deliver to everywhere in Lagos, just Lagos for now, and we do stuff like banana bread, carrot bread, sardine bread, cookies and granola. So we started in August last year, so we've been up for about 9-10 months now, and
so do you do the baking?
Myself and my sister, we do the baking ourselves. So we don't have any kitchen staff or baking staff, so we do it ourselves. And we'll bake from our mother's kitchen. Yes. So once in a while, my parents do assist.
It's family business now.
We're thankful for that. And but in terms of for logistics, we have like contractors that come in to handle the delivery and stuff. But for now, myself and my sister will do the baking ourselves.
And then how did you first start to get your customers? So you decide you have this idea you want to do, it's going to be online only. You figured out the concept.
So I think one thing is sometimes, people say, it doesn't look like you've been doing this for less than a year. But what they don't realize is that the strategy and the concept have been on for like 2 years before we actually started. Yes. So, and it was my sister, the one in Nigeria who I run the business with. She started baking, maybe out of boredom. She did banana bread, she gave it to a few friends. Oh, fantastic, nice, lovely. And she was a particular person, she would usually just pick and give it to her. And the next, I think it was maybe the third time or so, they were like, you know what, I'm going to start paying for this.
Oh, she was giving it away.
Yeah, she was, I love baking, have this,
Okay.
It wasn't a business, it wasn't a business idea at the time. It was just something she was doing for fun. And then she made, and she was doing that, and she was making granola, and she was self-taught, so she would go online, the recipes, tweak it to hers, and And I remember my parents were coming to visit us in London in 2016, and I'd seen several pictures she had sent. I said, make sure you give them that granola to bring, to London. And they brought it, and myself, we eat granola a lot. My sister in London, and her name's Ella. So myself and Ella, we used to eat granola. And when she brought them, my parents came, and that was the first thing I actually asked her, and I tried it, and it was so good. And so when I told her, she said, "Oh, don't tell me that because you're my sister." I said, if it's bad, I will tell you it's bad. And I told her, I said, "This is really good." And this was something I said, "You can actually start selling this." She's like, "Oh no, I don't like sales. I don't want to do it." I wonder, she was really scared about going into business. But my other sister Ella, she's more. She doesn't see no or challenge. She just starts thinking. So she was already started thinking about it, and from then onwards, it became, we started having meetings on Skype. Yeah, so myself, my sister Ella in London, and the one in Nigeria, Mary Jane, will have Skype meetings, and each of us will have action points we're going to do. You go research on logistics, you go research on products, our products that we're launching with, you research on, on all of that. So everything was, all of that took from 2016 up until, 2016 up until last. It's actually a year of planning, and then finally in August. And it was quite spontaneous. We decided to register the business. Something had happened, and my sister split the book. And I just thought, I said, you know what, we're registering the business today. And we did, called the lawyer, and we got all that started. And we started, and then our first customers, so people had been, so she had customers before the business became official, and when it became official, so which were like friends and family around, but not to the outside world. So once it was official, we went on Instagram, created an Instagram, but we actually wanted to have a website. So I designed the website myself, so I created the website, we created our social media pages. But one thing, so we created Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. But what we realized was that our customers were on Instagram, not on Facebook and Twitter. So we weren't active on Twitter, and we left Facebook. So, and I think that's one thing most businesses fail to understand. The customers are not on every social media.
I agree. And then for me, so I also do the same with Essence 13, and then also even with Item 13. I have a presence on all three. But I'm most active on Instagram. That's why I put most effort on content, especially because I'm not doing this full time. I'm not going to sit around and try to reformat something for Facebook and for Twitter. No, I'm like, if I get on Twitter and I'm doing something here, I can switch accounts and check. But I'm not like, my entire social media strategy is around Instagram. That's where I get engagement and all that stuff. And you're right, like, it's
like that. So we're not distracted. So initially we were doing everything, and then once we realized that our customers were on Instagram, we stopped putting so much effort on the other ones, and we focused on Instagram. So when we actually got our first Instagram sale, it was wonderful. Like, we were shocked. Like, wow, someone actually placed an order via Instagram. Someone we didn't even know the person, and it came straight. And then we weren't even running ads on Instagram, and it just came. And so we've actually grown the page organically, and it's so good. And then referrals have helped us as well. So most of our orders come from Instagram and then websites. A few people make phone orders and text, but the majority comes from
cool. And then why Mango Bake Shop?
It's funny, like, I think at the time we were having this strategy session and thinking about it, mango was in season and we all love mango. So that was it. Wasn't really okay. So initially it was meant to be Mary Jane's bakery, which was my sister Mary Jane Bakery, and then MJ's Bakery. And so when it was Mary Jane's Bakery, it was dormant for a long time, from 2016, and then when we got serious with it, then I was still very much, in fact, at that time I knew I was coming back to Nigeria. So when they were having a meeting and they were like, she doesn't want Mary Jane, she doesn't want her name there. Like, what fruit is that? I think my sister said, Ella said, what fruit is in season or something like that. Mango, okay, mango.
So if it had been Agbalumo as a thing,
it was so funny. There's really no major big story around
that's interesting.
And it was actually Mango Bake House. Mango Bake House, and they wanted to register. I can't remember. There was an issue with that Mango Bake House. I think it was something, or it was closely related to something, or someone else's on it. And the lawyer said, would you guys switch to Mango Bake Shop? Like, Mango Bake Shop is actually
sounds nice. Cool stuff. And then you also ran. This is like, you also run Naira Avenue. You are. You should go to Silicon Valley. I'm a serial entrepreneur.
Right.
So you also do Naira Avenue. Yes. So tell us what that's about.
So with Naira Avenue, that officially started this year, but I've been freelancing. So the services Naira Avenue is offering. So Naira Avenue basically is a web design agency, and our target market is actually small businesses in Nigeria. So I offer service to anybody anywhere in the world, but then we have a package that is suited for the Nigerian business. So I've always been a freelancer when it comes to web design and all that, and when I moved back, but like cooking, web design is a labor of love. Sometimes you feel, sometimes I feel like you don't get adequately rewarded for job, the effort you put into designing a website. And sometimes people don't understand because they just look at it and think like, just homepage, and just think that they don't understand what goes on behind the scenes. And so it wasn't something I actually wanted to start up. I wanted to continue just freelancing, and I to get referrals as well. So, but when I moved back to Nigeria, I noticed that when I started Mango Bake Shop, because I knew how to design it, it wasn't a big deal for me. And I just, created the website and put it on there. But then I realized that most of the small businesses didn't have a website, and the major reason was the cost of designing a website. And then I realized that people are charging outrageous amounts, to design a website. And I'm like, come on, you're not even, it's not that. Yes, we all want to make money and all that. And I say people don't get rewarded well, but then it's bad when you then want to, not take advantage of people of free. Because sometimes I see I see a website and I have like, how much did you pay? And they tell me, and I look out and I'm like, wow, and I did like that. So I then said, okay, why don't I? And then a few people then, say Mango Bake Shop, would actually send me a message and say, oh, who designed your website? And I said, you bake, you design and all that. So, okay. And then I go, can you do my website for me? Can you do my website for me? And then so I was actually struggling to create a service and you're out of it. And then after much deliberation and meetings and stuff, I said, okay, I'm going to design a package for small businesses in Nigeria, at 40,000 naira. So with 40,000 naira, you can get a good e-commerce website, so you could take payments and all of that, because I just thought every business deserves to be online. You should have a website. In 2018,
right? You shouldn't.
Website shouldn't be a big deal, So you kind of like, it was a burden for me. Like, why would businesses in Nigeria be struggling? Why would that?
That's so interesting. I see actually a common thread now between like Chopstreets. Actually, I'm thinking out loud, so I'm apologizing in advance if this doesn't sound or like make sense. But now I'm seeing a thread between Chopstreets at the beginning, and then Mango Bake Shop in the middle, and then Naira Avenue. So Chopstreets is about discovery, right? And then at the end, Naira Avenue is also about discovery. Chopstreets is about discovery of food, which is what Mango Bake Shop is. And then Naira Avenue is just discovery of businesses in general. So there's that common thread between all three.
All three, and I think you're on the line that like there's it's providing solution. It's something. Cause I'm careful sometimes when I get so get on something and I'm so interested in it. Sometimes I forget about the monetary aspect. I just want to solve this problem and all that. So I've learned how to, my time is precious and all that. So. Yeah, you're actually right. There's actually that link between, because each one has stemmed from the other. Yeah, so even
you're starting to build your empire.
Even when Naira has come off, from Mango Bake Shop, and then I get people tell me, "Oh, Naira Avenue, so you are Mango Bake Shop or Mango Bake Shop, you're Naira Avenue." And then, in fact, there's actually a lady that left a comment and said, "Okay, I knew there was something about Mango Bake Shop," and then she saw Naira Avenue. Now I understand. You're not just a baker; you have a tech background and all that. So, but for me, Naira Avenue, I'm very passionate about.
Yeah, I think that's actually and you're right. 2018, like we should be able to find you. Find you online.
It's ridiculous. Like you see so many people doing so well on Instagram, and I told someone, I thought, what if tomorrow
Instagram decides
what's going to happen? Like you don't even have your information, because then so with Naira Avenue, I'm trying to now. So I also do like tech tips. Are you creating a customer database and things like that? Because everything for small businesses kind of like ends on Instagram for them. So if Instagram shuts down or someone hacks your page, your business is gone basically, literally. You don't have your customer details anymore.
I know, because I think I've seen a couple of times where someone has come and said, "Oh, my account was hacked into, so I'm creating this new account," and you had 40k followers, and you are now come to start.
And sometimes customers don't even remember.
Yeah, they don't remember that they were,
Exactly. So except you build that, if you build that relationship with them.
So I think that's good. You're still building your empire and we'll be following closely.
We're trying.
Before we transition to the rapid fire, can you let us know where people can find you on social media, online, etc.?
Okay, so my personal Instagram account is Vivica, VYVYKAA. I don't post so much there, but
and I will include it all also in the show notes for people
not related to business. Yeah, that's my personal account. But for Chopstreets on every social media, so Twitter. So Chopstreets is actually active on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and Chopstreets. And with Mango Bake Shop, it's Mango Bake Shop. You can find it on Instagram at Mango Bake Shop, and Naira Avenue, same. So
okay, cool. And then online,
website the mangobakeshop.com, nairaavenue.com, chopstreets.com.
Cool. All right, then we'll be seeing you online then.
Yes, please. Chopstreets is currently, the page is undergoing maintenance now, like I said previously.
Yeah.
So, but there are links to articles that people can actually read up on.
Cool. All right, now let's jump into rapid fire questions to wrap up.
Should I be scared?
No, these are so easy actually. I need to stop and think of like more difficult questions. Yeah, these are super easy questions. So the one question I ask everybody. I think I've asked everybody this question: is Ghana jollof or Nigeria? and you know, it will surprise you that people. I mean, if you're Nigerian, doesn't mean that Nigeria jollof is better.
That's a tricky one for me because I can't say Nigerian jollof or Ghanaian jollof because the Ghanaian jollof I used to eat back in London, I like it.
So see, that's the answer. So let's move on.
At the same time, I like my Nigerian jollof, so I think
you're being diplomatic. The official answer is Ghana jollof. So let's move on. Buffet or a la carte?
Buffet.
Swallow or rice?
Rice.
Red wine or white wine?
None of the above.
You don't drink, or you don't drink wine? No big on wine. Okay, coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Dine in or take out?
Because I like food, I can't even choose. I'll say take out because then take out allows me to express myself.
I know. Anyway, like a lot of the chefs have said dining because I guess they know like the food stays the way a chef wants it. But like I can take my chicken home and make it apart. Morning person or night person?
Night person.
Instagram or Twitter?
Instagram.
Lagos living or London living?
London living. I like, okay, so it's just the ease of, because I'm always open about the ease of transportation in London. It makes it easy for me, and I don't need to think twice if I have to get from point A to point B. But with Lagos, your trip, the moment you told me you're going to be in Lagos, I've been planning since last week for this meeting. Yes.
Okay. All right. And then lastly, your favorite African restaurant and why? It doesn't have to be in Lagos. Anywhere.
Favorite African restaurants. So it's funny enough, it's not actually a restaurant. I would say I have a few. So Charlie Let's Eat is a pop-up and super club in London.
Ghanaian. See, you have a thing for Ghanaian food, I'm telling you.
Of course, I love Tokumbo's Kitchen.
Yeah.
That's my friend. But for me in London, when people say, authentic Nigerian food, sometimes I get to try the food and it's not anything Nigerian, it's watered down, the taste and everything. So, but with Tokumbo's Kitchen, I get authentic Nigerian food. And then, which other one? And then, there was this Cameroonian restaurant as well. Unfortunately, I can't remember the name as well. And that was my first time trying. And that was in Glasgow. And I got to try.
In Glasgow?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, in Glasgow. And that's actually one of what's the name? Anyway, it's actually like the most popular African restaurants in Glasgow. And so before I returned to Nigeria, Glasgow was the last place I worked in. I still bank there. So, of course, I have to look for an African restaurant there. And I liked it because I didn't have the usual things, so it made me. So I tried different things. Funny enough, they had Cameroonian food, they had South African food.
Yeah, some of these African restaurants tend to do that. Yeah, so they may be primarily Nigerian, but then get Senegalese, and then they add a little bit of
So,
cool. Okay, my takeaway is that you like Ghanaian food more than Nigerian food. That's and that's
I won't argue. See? I like it.
I'm telling you. Okay. Ghanaian has had.
I think after Nigerian food, for African food, after Nigerian food, Ghanaian food is next.
No, I think Ghanaian food
is next. You should.
Hey. You really should. Well, thank you so much for your time. This has been fun. I learned a lot. I've been inspired by you, and I need to start thinking about my business empire. You're getting there slowly, so
thanks for having me. And great to finally meet you.
Yeah, it's good to meet you.
This
is great. All right, guys. We'll wrap it up here, and we'll talk to you next time.
Hey guys, thanks for listening to Item 13, an Essence 13 production. If you like the show, please subscribe, rate, and review us on iTunes. To keep up to date on news and events from Essence 13, please follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Essence and the number 13. Thank you.
Hey there, I'm Lee Ullman here with some big news from the National Young Farmers Coalition. We're partnering with Heritage Radio Network on a special season of The Farm Report. It's all about what's happening with the Farm Bill and how it impacts farmers and eaters.
I am growing diversified vegetables on land that's been in our family for 150 years.
And so with the pandemic, gentrification, property values going up, we had to sell the land and we lost it.
Join us as we uncover the untold stories behind this massive piece of legislation that shapes how we grow our food, what we eat, and so much more.
The problems we have had, those are things that come from earlier Farm Bill and USDA policy, right? Like Earl Butts, get big or get out.
You know, it's my responsibility to know not only what I'm eating, but then like how that all came to be. And realize like, wow, like this piece of legislation, all this money, like it's technically something that I support as a taxpayer.
While Congress debates the next Farm Bill, this is not just an invitation to listen. It's a call to action. Be part of the conversation. Subscribe to the Farm Report on Heritage Radio Network, wherever you listen to podcasts.